What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Keeping It Real with TNL, episode 5. Today, you guys are in for a treat. We're going to be going over the myths and lies around low-carb and keto diets. We live in a place where most of the media that kind of perpetuates health tends to steer us in the wrong direction. But we'll dive into that in this episode, as well as a mental adjustment or just mental health for those who are looking to accomplish goals and get things done. We're going to give you guys some advice, especially as we're coming to the end of January. We'll see how many of you guys have stuck to your New Year's goals, and we'll talk about how to get back on track. But I got Lori with me. What's going on? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good today. Feeling fantastic.
Hold on really quick. I don't want to bring it up. Let's talk about the sweatshirt. Today's a big day.
It's a big day.
Rundown.
Big Maha fan. Anyone that cares about the health of their family and children and future grandkids should care about food quality, should care about transparency, so that whatever you decide to put in your body, you actually know what's in it and the side effects that could come from it. So I'm staying positive and excited for today, so that we can move forward, so that I don't have to go to Italy to eat whatever I want and not get sick, right? I shouldn't have to leave the country to not feel like absolute crap from eating things that I can't eat here. You know what I mean? So these are the things. And as we break down, misinformation on things like low carb, cholesterol, proteins, and fats, it's a good time to remember that there's a lot to cut through, because certain people that need to perpetuate things for the sake of money get ideas out there, and a lot of people just don't know. So we want to help you see through a lot of the things that will help you be healthier going forward. So let's do that. Yeah.
I love it. So we're going to just dive right on in. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is some of the common headlines that might be out there that we usually see, whether we're going to the internet, whether we're either talking with friends. So something that we commonly hear is, oh, did you hear that this diet apparently causes this? You should stop that. And so some of the headlines that some people may have heard are things like low carb diets raise your risk of early death. Keto could cause heart disease and lead to dangerous nutrient deficiencies. Or my personal favorite one, low carbs are unsustainable and harmful to your body. The reason I said this is my personal favorite, because those who know me know I've been doing low carb for years now, pretty consistently. There's some meals here and there, but for the most part, I would say that is my common eating. So to hear somebody say it's unsustainable and harmful after being on it for over a decade, I obviously seem to either be defying science or not making it make sense. But you would know why.
Yeah. So this is a big deal, because I can remember as a teenage girl, we'd have Shape and all these magazines geared towards teenagers to look away and be thin, and the bikini girl on the front that everyone wanted to look like. And the headlines were about as helpful as the last page where your horoscope for the month was laid out by your sign. Like, equally, like, it's going to be a good month because it says it right here. Like, I'm going to get thin because I'm going to eat low fat all the time. So I think this is a great one, because I still, even with a lot of my clients now, we're all working to heal like autoimmune disease, chronic illness, hormone issues. Everybody succeeds 100%, myself included, when we cut out these carbs and we focus on protein and fat. So I'm really excited about this one today, because so many people can get past the misnomers that we see on National Enquirer. You're literally in a checkout line at Safeway, and there's like 7 different headlines about what to eat and what not to eat. And generally, they're funded by the company that wants you to eat what they're selling. Like, if you ever, you're coming from Morgan Hill back, and there's the, it's for Chick-fil-A, right? And so they're like, eat cows because or don't eat the cows, or like eat chicken or something. They're like, whoever wants you to go eat at Chick-fil-A is like, cows are bad, It's that kind of propaganda within food, and it's rampant because it's such a huge industry, right? The food industry is a huge economy. Yeah. And we have to talk about that too. So
that brings up a very, very huge point, because something that it's going to be a hot take. I hate to say it, but the simple fact is that most of the food and the things are basically how this whole process works, that you and I just said. It's ran by industries. It's ran by companies. It's not ran by somebody who may have the best interest in your health as much as the best interest in their pockets.
Yeah.
And so obviously, anytime that is put when humans are involved, that means that there's a price.
Yeah.
On human health and human safety. And
Yes.
anytime that you put a price, obviously that means that there's a point where it doesn't matter what damage is being done as long as the price is being met.
Yeah.
And it becomes a game of profits. And one of the industries that profits that we usually, nobody wants to really target, but we'll call it big pharma.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons that this whole entire thing works is because these large scale food companies you were talking about, they're obviously pumping out the ultra processed foods, which are linked to chronic diseases. We talked about it in our last one about the insulin resistance, diabetes, heart disease. All these things are clearly linked to ultra processed foods, and it seems to be the more common American diet. And now the big pharma is like, well, since this is what you guys basically have made a part of your 5 food groups, we have everything that's going to kill the symptoms of the poison that this is causing.
Yeah.
And so
it feeds itself, right? It's self-feeding. It's wild. Yeah.
And it's super funny because someone will literally be like, hey, I'm going to plan on trying to lose weight or cutting out the cell or trying to eat healthy. And naturally, most people don't know where to start. And they naturally go to things that say low carb or things that say health friendly, not knowing that it's put out by the same company who obviously doesn't have your best interest in mind. And the food and the poisonous and the chemicals they put in that food, as well as the ultra processed carbs, are what cause a lot of the health issues that most people have. Now, I'm not going to get too crazy, but let's kind of start small.
Okay.
Low carb diet. How did you usually? What do you have you tried it before? Would you recommend it? What's your opinion on that?
The thing is like carbohydrates. So your sugar is fructose, but it's sugar, right? The fruit sugar is fructose, and you're like, but it's still affecting my glucose and my insulin, all the things. Dairy spikes insulin, and your grains and your breads. Like if you look at the food pyramid, you'd be living on bread, right? It's all carb.
All grains and whole ups.
Yeah. So for me, whether I'm in perfect health or working on a health issue, like when we talked about to get rid of my insulin resistance again, that kicked up during perimenopause, it's like very minimal carbs and they're slow burning. So you'll hear me talk about it. One single ingredient, red lentil pasta imported from Italy, or red lentils that I cook in bone broth that I make at home so that it's like protein and collagen rich. And those are my carbs. I eat fruit once in a while. I do fine without it. My blood work is fantastic. My cholesterol is fantastic because don't blame fat for what the sugar does, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, when I'm dealing with someone with any health issue, from cancer all the way down to weight loss, we have to talk about carbs and we got to get them low and we got to get them mostly out because you're never going to be like suffering from malnutrition because I took away your whole wheat bread. Do you know what I mean? You're really not missing anything. So it gets us back to whole foods and nutrient rich foods when we get out those carbs and stick with single ingredient things, right?
Absolutely. Now here's the thing, guys. Now this is cool on the level that most people think about, which is I want to lose weight. I know that most people are usually thinking, okay, if I cut carbs, I'm going to lose weight. But what we don't talk about is kind of what you were kind of mentioning. What we're mentioning is that yes, you're going to lose weight, but there's going to be other health benefits and health biomarkers that are going to be changing within yourself. So let's kind of dive into something you had taught me recently about what drives cancer.
Yeah. So, cancer is fed by sugar. When they do the scans and they inject that dye and the cancer starts like feeding off the sugar in it, that's how it fluoresces and they find that in scans, right? Latest information I've had. So, chronic disease and illness are generally caused by inflammation. Other countries will tell you that all autoimmune diseases are inflammatory. Some of them will get into the heavy metals and the toxins that are in vaccines and medications. We'll say now, neither of us are like pro or against vaccines. That's an individual choice. But the things that you put in your body directly affect how your organs and everything work and what rises up in the body. So just from the idea of knowing that, wow, like sugar, even from fruit, like any kind of sugar feeds cancer, should be enough of that light bulb moment where you're like, it's everything, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's in ketchup. You know what I mean? Like, it's everything. So it's in milk, especially the non-fat milk. Can we roll back 1 second about how the low fat came to be?
Let's go.
Late 50s, early 60s, the sugar industry paid Harvard to do a study on low fat diets being important, right? Because they're the sugar industry and this is what they're doing, right? So first of all, I'm not going to talk about the whole study. You can research it, look at if it's even still public. You can find it. But the point is, if the sugar industry is paying scientists to come up with an outcome that backs sugar and says fat is bad, we're already into some bad science. This is the broken science that the broken science initiative talks about. Like, if Rogue paid me as a gym owner to say that Rogue is the only equipment on the planet that you'll never get hurt on, always get results on, and will make you look good and live a happy life. And I had 1,000 pages of people like backing that up, but didn't show you anybody else that didn't say anything against that. That's correct, right?
That would be.
So that's where we got on the low fat, which is where my adage is like, don't blame fat for what the sugar did, right?
Absolutely.
Had to put that in because that one always gets me, right? I'm like, oh God. And everyone's like, it's Harvard. It's Harvard.
And I was going to say, and that's the thing that many people just don't know. They don't have this information and this knowledge, and they automatically hear, oh, just because it's not chips or cookies, it must be healthy.
Yeah.
No, just because it's Ritz crackers doesn't make it healthy. Just because if it's still in a box or in a can, it's still a processed food. If it still has added sugars, it still has added sugars.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it says 100 calories only, but there's 15 grams of sugar. It doesn't matter.
And that's that sneaky marketing, just like the headlines, like clickbait, that idea of like, oh, well, I'm going through TikTok at 1 a.m, so I can't sleep because I'm not shutting off TikTok. It's a vicious cycle, right? Feeds itself. And you're like, oh, and this person and that person and this pill. And then by the end of it, you think you have all the answers to your health without even knowing what's really driving the problem. So how can you fix it? Like, like people just, oh, well, I'm going to lose weight. So I'm just going to either get on the Ozempic or just go on a low fat diet. And either way, I'm going to be so healthy and great until you're not. And then now you've really lost progress, right? That's the thing too. Like the more we waste time on junk ideas, the longer it takes to hit our health goals, our aesthetic goals. And if you really just eat to fix the inside, the exterior follows suit, right? If you're really healthy, you're going to look good.
It's going to reflect
itself. It reflects it. It's from the inside out. So that's just my thought on that.
I love that.
I know.
No, it's absolutely true. True health obviously will begin if you're good within inside. It will reflect out.
Yeah,
and it shows. And so that is something me and you have always believed in, which is the cornerstone of true health. Which it doesn't always have to do with just how you look. It needs to be a full composite. How do I feel right now? Yeah, again, am I happy with my body? But obviously, am I also happy with how I'm moving? Am I happy? Like, am I waking up stiff or sore, or do I feel good? All those things that is the true mark of health. And I completely believe that more people, when they begin to cut out some of those processed foods and they start to relieve themselves of the inflammation causes, they start to actually feel what their body is when it's not running on nothing but pure sugar and non-nutrient dense foods.
Yeah.
They should see that change. Like that being you were talking about the overall health. And something that's so big with that is Ozempic or other drugs aren't going to give you overall health. Yeah. They will give you the image of health for your mind. If you're someone who has to look at the scale and be like, okay, it says that, so now I'm happy. Yeah. If that's where you get your happiness from, then maybe, that's what that does. But that's still not overall health.
Yeah.
That's just making you okay with yourself because a drug took some weight off and the scale said, oh, I've lost 9 pounds. I feel good.
Yeah.
And so then if we kind of, even this is getting a little bit deep, but if we really peel the layers back of what you want, it would just be most people want to feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
They want to feel confident. And they don't understand that the best way to go about that is by building it themselves through the good food, through working out consistently, and actually just building the habits that create long-term confidence.
Because that solves the problem, right? It's not. So here's an aside. Tim and I were watching. There's this, I don't know if she's a singer or what. She has pink hair. She's probably 20 or 21. She has full-blown osteoporosis from a year of Ozempic. So the blindness is running rampant. And then the people that are born, there's muscle wasting and it affects muscle, don't really think about that their heart is a muscle. So now the heart problems are rolling in. It's been out like a year and a half or something. And it takes years of observation to say something's going to work or not work definitively. But they're already promising there's like 42 things it's going to cure. You're just like, oh, wow. How come the country that makes it, Netherlands, I think, they're not allowed to sell it there. It just comes here.
That is a very good point.
So when you're looking at stuff, right, like you have to, I always ask this, Tim will say like, yeah, I just read this about this body mechanic. I'm like, who wrote it and who do they work for? That's my first question. When I look at any study, I'm like, from what perspective is this coming? Am I seeing both sides of the answers? Because nothing will come 100% exactly to your hypothesis ever, right? Unless you're full of crap. Unless you're 16 and trying to get your way. But 100% the answer's still no. So these are the things that you should ask yourself when you're watching the news. Doesn't matter which channel or late night or whatever. Like, okay, so is what you're saying clouded by your socio-political like ideology? Is it funded by the sugar industry? Is Big Pharma trying to do that? Because if something is big as Big Pharma created stuff to heal people without 10 pages of side effects, that'd be freaking awesome, right? But at the end of the day, if everyone realized that your health is determined by what you put in your body and how you exercise it at the very basic level, right? We really get somewhere. Like, that'd be amazing. Like, what if your doctor wrote you a prescription for CrossFit and a nutrition one-on-one with the coach? Could you imagine? Like, then you start healing. Because I could be like, hey, take some ibuprofen. I'm really tired about hearing about your migraines and headaches, right? And you're like, thanks, until they come back again and get worse and debilitating. And then you're like, oh, we never really thought about what's causing that.
Because we're only curing symptoms. We're not worried about causes.
Yeah, the no Band-Aid approach that I take, I live that. No matter what life is thrown at me, you have to really say, look, I really don't want to take a thyroid medication that I have to take forever until my liver gives out, because that's the main side effect. I'd much rather figure out what's troubling my thyroid and deal with it that way and healed it, right? So
fix the cause and actually fix the problem at the cause.
Yeah. I'm not saying that everything is simple, but I feel like things are overcomplicated a lot. And the topic that we're talking about today is like one of those things that if we could clear that up, it would be a whole different world for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, it's a very common thing that Big Pharma is big on using their own, obviously, profit and using products to solve or fix people's issues, as opposed to honestly, like, let's just say, if I walked into a doctor's office and I was like, hey, I feel depressed. And the first thing that doctor says is, okay, well, let me think of a prescription to get you on, as opposed to being like, well, how often are you going outside? What's your vitamin D like?
Yeah.
What's your food like?
Yeah.
Is there something going on in your life that this is causing? Like, they don't even start at that level, because most problems can be fixed by the things that we just said. Okay, well, are you doing anything for your fitness? No, I work all day and I wake up, I get in my car, I go to my office, I get back in my car, I drive home and I watch TV, and I'm wondering why I am depressed. Yeah. It's like, well, you haven't done anything for your health. You haven't gotten a touch of vitamin D in you. You're probably extremely deficient, and your
feeling's probably down too. Yeah, you're just like tanked. Like,
yeah, and just those minor things, like there's no pill, but that's the problem. That's not profitable.
Yeah.
Even though like we just gave that information out. And here's the thing about that. Maybe you working out and getting some sun doesn't also lead to diarrhea, vomiting, and other things.
That's the thing. The side effects are like, it's wild. And I know that we allow pharmaceuticals to advertise on TV here. A lot of countries do not. And while they're listing the, 100 side effects, people are like laughing and playing and look like they're so happy and healthy. Sudden death, like heart attack, loose bowels, loose stool, whatever. And you're just like, good God, like it's tough, because I know that we have been programmed in a way that, doctor, if you have a white coat, you're great. And there are great doctors out there. Unfortunately, I've never had one from a patient perspective, right? I have not. But I've met some great MDs that went more functional route and like are healing people left and right and this new lease on life. I'll be in LA Saturday with the Medical Society meeting another phenomenal doctor talking about how he teaches people how to take control of their health. Because that's the thing, we're always taught that you're dumb, don't Google it, I'm the doctor, and yet they never fix it. They just shut you up. Am I right? Like,
Absolutely.
and again, it's there's so many brilliant people out there with just a little bit of like guidance. And if we really taught doctors some different perspectives and ways of looking at things, we could solve a lot of the health problems that really come down to what we put in our body and how we move it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're going to end this one, and I'm just going to wrap up a little bit of the effects that I've had in my own life following the low carb diet. So you can hear from someone who's kind of lived it, as opposed to what research has shown, and it's obviously different. So most of, as we spoke about in the last episode with me, I used to weigh 400 pounds. The low carb diet was the way that I lost that 200 pounds. And not only that, as I began to lose that weight, I began to notice other things within myself begin to change. I began to notice that my skin was clearing up. I used to have these little spots on my neck that started to slowly go away once I started to cut the processed carbs out. The other thing that I had noticed with me personally is I had a lot less like just pain.
Yeah.
It's like overall pain. I remember times, yeah, you could say that it's from the weight loss, but I remember times like even when I was going through the process and still losing weight, but still was like not knowing that certain days were processed. Like I would wake up inflamed. I'd wake up feeling the bloat. All those things that we speak about. And once I completely kind of got rid of the carbs and mainly the processed foods, again, no more bloat.
Yeah.
And then this one's going to be tough because this one took me a very long time to notice, and something that I've obviously mentioned to you which is the mental clarity. The mental clarity that I began to notice once I kind of got off the processed foods, I didn't feel like my thoughts were in such a hurry. Now, again, this is me personally. This is my own experience with cutting out carbs, reducing sugar to very minimal levels. And I'll be honest with you guys, for those who are interested, I usually have about a protein intake of, let's say, upwards to 210 grams with maybe a carb intake of maybe 40 grams or less.
Yeah.
So it's on the low, and I keep my sugar at about 10 grams. And so that's it. Now, those are just numbers, but that's me after doing this for a decade where I've reached. That's not where I obviously started. But in that entire time, I haven't had a doctor ever tell me that I have bad health.
Yeah.
I've had to pass multiple physicals as a police officer that involved blood draws and other things where I actually had to check. It wasn't just a squat and cough physical. And I've even been in a medical office where they've asked, "What are you doing? Can you teach me?"
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is the truth. Like I said, no one is paying me to tell you this. I don't care what you guys do at home. You guys can live how you want. I'm just telling this because this is the experience I've had.
And I love this. And this is the keeping it real is what it is. Like we talked about this, like our mission statement, why we do this. We wish someone had been honest with us about stuff. You can throw shade, you can be angry. Oh my God, she likes RFK, he's an anti-vaxxer, he's not at all. You can say anything, but one point in life, you'll remember this and you'll be like, oh, okay, because no one's going to buy us. Like, no Coca-Cola isn't going to sponsor keeping it real with Gina. That's wild, right? Like, there's no selling out. There's no saying something because someone's paying you, forcing you, or threatening you. Like, if we're going to keep it real, we're going to keep it real.
Absolutely.
And it's not like we don't have decades of doing it ourselves, or I have 50 people that I've taken through in a few years, just fixing their mental health. People that were about to be locked down because they were so out of control. And so these are the things that you just need to keep an open mind with and come to this, because you have to hear every side of the story, and you have to listen to people who aren't talking through the companies that are making money off your decisions. And that's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what I also want to say? This is important. So inflammation is systemic. So the brain is inflamed, like a hangover. You feel crappy the next day. And it's systemic. So the aches and pains and the different things that go away, absolutely, when you clean things up. Skin clearing up. Your skin is the largest organ. It covers your entire body. Teenagers and even adults with acne, that's the problem with your gut expressing itself through the skin, your eczema, your all the different things like that, back to the gut. Like these are the things that we do all the time. So that mental clarity is huge because people are like, oh, I'm getting old, brain fog, I don't sleep enough. No, really, like the crap that you eat has a dire effect on your ability to function every day. So you hit all the things that happen when we do this. And then do you realize that I'll ask you this because it might just be me, but after about 3 days of no sugar of any type. So when I switched over to the slow carb, right? I don't know, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, you have that free day that you can have whatever. And in the beginning, you're like, I'm going to have a gluten-free vegan cookie. So good. And then the next day, you're like, oh, well, I can think about sugar. So then I'm like, I'm not going to do sugar anymore on my free day. I'll just go to a restaurant and have a nice steak that someone else cooked for me, right? The cravings go away. Why? Because every time you put sugar in your body, you're feeding the bad bacteria that tells your brain you need sugar. So again, you're cutting that off at the pass, right? So I know it sounds like hell, right? Today we had a birthday brunch for Tim, and everything was protein, fat. I think there were organic grapes because I have a few vegan members that can't eat we had like wild salmon, nitrate-free bacon, Amy Lou paleo chicken sausages, the farm-raised eggs. And then the only cracker to go to charcuterie that was like from Italy, like the non-cured salami prosciutto, had the Simple Mills almond crackers. There wasn't even wheat. There was no wheat, no dairy, and nobody complained. There was no junk food. Everyone was just like eating, and they had a great post-workout feast, right? And it was actually cheaper than had I gone to Costco and bought a bunch of crap. So these are the things, right? I know it seems hard, but no one was like devastated that we did blow out a candle and serve up cake with a shit ton of sugar in it, right? Like, so things to think about. Your body acclimates, and then you start feeling so good. You don't want to stop. Like that's the drug. That's the addict you want to be. Is the addict who's in love with protein and fat and working out and feeling good. Like be addicted to that feeling and go crush it every day. Yeah.
You just hit it on the head. That's what drives me, is that feeling. I always feel good because of the workout. And when I don't, it is at a point where something is completely wrong. And my whole entire attitude changes. Like that's how much this has become a part of my own life. And yours, well, I watched it for an entire year now. Day after day. Constant workouts. Fighting their injuries, but always saying, like, I need to get my workout. Yeah. Just I constantly making sure the food's right. It just works. Like, who wouldn't want to function at their best?
It's amazing.
This shouldn't have to be anything that we have to sell. As a matter of fact, let's stop talking about it. Either you guys are going to want to be healthy or you're not. I shouldn't have to sell you for you to take your life back. That should be something that you should do on your own. We just gave you literally the blueprint to how to do it. Cut the processed food, cut the carbs, increase the protein, get rid of the sugar, and you will see a change. And it's not something that I am telling you to just do for 2 days. Run this for 4 weeks and then come back to me. 4 weeks straight. Then come and say, hey, this is bad. This didn't work. Talk to me then, and I guarantee you won't. Yeah. So moving on, we're going to talk about the mindset. So it is the end of the year. What is it? The 29th. Shout out Coach Tim. Happy birthday, Tim. But most people at this current time are usually had some high goals at the start of the year. Just like get closer towards day 30. It's like, where have they gone? So I just want to take this time to talk about mindset talk, something that most people know I'm very big on mindset. So I'd like to give you guys some meaningful tips on when it comes to achieving goals. But Laura, let me speak with you really quick. Honestly, do you feel like you have multiple clients? Do you feel it's hard to keep them sometimes motivated towards what their goal was? I know that that's something that I kind of struggle with.
Yeah, but I love like the difference in care here with all of us, you and whoever's in this building with their client, like we're your friend, your therapist, your nutritionist, your coach, your physical therapist, for all of that, right? So like I just had someone text me the other night, like a creamer, can I have this? And I was like, it's good job, it's clean, there's no argon, there's no sugar, right? I'm down with that. But it does take a lot of extra work, because as this month comes to an end, we're just watching people just like jump off the New Year resolution cliff, right? So I definitely feel like the other night I was like, I'm gonna have to put a wait list for new patients and clients, because it's to that point where if I'm going to give them the best service and still work out and sleep and cook food and run a business and another business, that I have to really be parameters. So I don't know how you feel with that, but do you feel like with your clients still?
So usually, yeah. So sometimes what I found with some of my clients is that whether it's New Year's or whether it's a new client, it's always they are super amped up, have a big goal.
Yeah.
And then about a month and a half in, they're still going through the process, but they're not as hyped up as they were at.
They've lost the excitement. So you're like the king of mindset. I should just, instead of a Joe Dispenza weekend, I'll just pay time for like a Thai meditation mindset weekend. We need to do this now. We've put it out to the universe. But tell me what you do for your clients.
So something that I have found that helps me as well as my clients is that at the onset of us starting out our goal, the biggest thing that I always recommend, this is to you guys at home too, is linking your goal to something larger. Now, let me kind of explain that. One of the more common goals is a weight loss goal. Let's say, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds in 30 days. That's not real. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's a common thing. And then their whole entire focus will literally just be on the scale. And then since the goal is the 10-pound loss, if they don't see the loss, the motivation slowly begins to basically float away. As opposed to, let's say the goal was, I want to work out more consistently so I could play with my grandkids. I want to work out, or I want to eat right so I don't have to look at the zits that constantly pop up on my face.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to link it to some more interpersonal things, that's where we're going to actually start to see an emotional and internal shift. Because most people keep their goal on something outside of them, as opposed to like thinking, okay, if I get that 10-pound result, what comes with that? I'll probably have different clothes. I'll probably not be afraid to stop and look in the mirror when I walk past it. I may want to go out more. And then we're starting to see that, hold on, this is more linked towards confidence. This is linked towards feeling good in my own skin. And if we could start to put our goals to that level, that create an emotional response, like, dude, if I could lose this 100 pounds, I may be able to go talk to someone of the opposite sex. Like, I know guys like that who like, they don't want to talk because they're just unfit.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. But hey, what if it was, hey, if I lose this weight, I could possibly find a partner.
Yeah.
Someone who cares for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure with that kind of thought, it'd be a little bit easier to wake up on a cold morning.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried about what the scale said last night. You're like, dude, if I get home and workout, and things can start changing. I can start seeing something bigger in my life. And so the biggest thing that I want to basically leave off with before our closing segment is this. Always think, if the goal was accomplished, how would you feel? Why is it so important? Don't just focus on the 10 pounds. Start to list out, what does that come with? And those are going to be, that usually creates an emotion within yourself where you start to feel amped up and energized. And then once we're doing that, that's when it gets easier to kind of keep ourselves on track of why we're doing what we're doing. Because I'll be honest with you, most people have been wanting to lose 10 pounds forever, since high school. And then it lasts for 2 weeks and it's gone. It's because it's never been linked to anything bigger than just that.
Yeah.
And so that's my tip. Think about the goal that you may have started during the new year, and then try to figure out, how would you emotionally feel outside of what it looks like, but how would you feel within if you were to accomplish it? And hopefully that gives you a little bit more motivation. Now, The last thing we're going to do, because I didn't get an opportunity to, and I felt bad about it.
I don't feel bad about anything.
We are going to put you on the hot seat, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
So you are the L in the show, Lori. You make it happen. You're the other half. Without you, this doesn't work. So it's always good to let people know more about you.
Thank you.
Now, so we're going to put Lori on the hot seat, guys. Number one question. Let me get my questions. Let me get my questions for this one. All right, here we go. So, question number one. What is your favorite local restaurant?
Peasant and Pear and Bamboo Sushi. I have to do two because it's completely gluten free then.
Okay.
And you can have slush eating rice, so I have to worry about getting sick then.
There we go. Okay. All right. This one, I already know the answer. What I'm asking you. What is your favorite barbell movement?
Little freeze. I know. Everyone's like, what's wrong with her? It's spots. I know. It's okay. Whatever.
So birthday in May.
Yes.
Is there going to be some overhead? Is there going to be overhead
squats? Yeah, generally. So when I do a barbell medley, it starts with 100 overhead squats on the team. Remember, it's a partner block. Mm-hmm. Then everybody's like, "Oh God, why did we let Lori work here? Why does Tim let her own it too? Get her out of here."
So you guys already know we got some overhead squats definitely coming up for that. All right. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Italy. No hesitation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any specific areas?
Well, when we go back for my 50th, which is in a couple of years, I want to stay in Tuscany. I haven't seen that yet, but the food, the people, my culture, and I don't have to live there permanently, but I would like my dual citizenship that I need to start working on and have a home somewhere in the country in Italy.
All right. Yeah. I love that. All right. Top 3 favorite movies.
Shawshank Redemption.
What?
No, I'm not even kidding. You did not see that coming. And then Elf, because you watch it, I've watched it 30 times in December, maybe some in November. And then Dead Poet Society, because that's what inspired me to be an English teacher. And yeah, oh God, just like the real life. So yeah, yep, those are my 3 favorite.
I love that. We're gonna have to do a Shawshank, just a full-on breakdown. Dude, that's awesome. All right. Oh yeah. Last but not least, what's one piece of advice you wish you had earlier in life?
I wish that, when I was young, there was a picture of a garage and it had 7 high-end priced sports cars, and it said justification for higher education. So I always thought success was determined by wealth, not. So, and here's the thing, I was wealthy long before I came back to California and started here. But success is doing what you were put here to do, right? And then the wealth will come from that, and you won't be left on the streets. So if I had known to lead all aspects of my life in passion, it would have been a very different life leading to this point. But I still made it here. So that's success, not what your bank account is, but what your heart is telling you to do, and service and what you do for others. To me, this is the pinnacle of my success, this point in my life, and the MetFix journey coming and all the things, right? So, yeah, I don't need 7 sports cars. I'm super cool with my little Bronco. She's cute. It's okay.
That's awesome, Lord. So, guys, that's a wrap. Episode 5. This has been an amazing run so far. Oh, hold on.
Oh, the card.
We had a question in the Q&A box.
We have a question. Okay, go ahead. You do it. You have some honors of this one by now. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Why are y'all so awesome? Yes, YALL. Why are y'all so awesome? I will start with you.
I mean, that's this way. No, thank you for thinking we're awesome. You know what it is for me? Just being here, fills my bucket. So I just want to fill everybody else's. So I'm happy that you think we're awesome. I'm down.
I was gonna say I'm awesome because of the low carb diet.
That's right. Bring it back around.
But no, guys. Honestly, kind of what Lori said. It's easy because of the community that we have. I am excited to let you guys know this information, to pass all this stuff on. You guys drive it. You guys are the reason that works so awesome, because you guys give us the energy and want to actually be awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I don't know whoever this was. Comment if you asked this one, because I just want to give you guys a personal little handshake. So, oh, and then last but not least, if you haven't already, follow Coach Lori on Instagram, Coach Lori925. You can follow me on Instagram, Coach Ty925, and follow our gym, CrossFit San Ramon, CrossFit SR925 on Instagram. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Thank you so much. So keep it consistent. Wait, I totally screwed that up already. Stay consistent, stay motivated, and keep it real.
Keep it real.
Back around. Just take me.
There we go. And as I always say, keep it classy, San Ramon. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.